Heather for Jess.
Go for Jess.
Can you switch to 2?
Switching.
Hey, I'm Heather.
And I'm Jess.
We're 2 multi-hyphenate creatives figuring it out in real time.
From on set and in the studio to deadlines, pivots, side hustles, and starting over.
We talk about the messy, brilliant, behind-the-scenes reality of working in production, broadcast content, and everything in between.
Tune in for fresh tea, hot takes, industry guests, and the occasional chaos.
This is Switching to, the side channel for creative conversations.
We're glad you're here.
All right, we're on 2. Hey, Jess. How's it going?
Hey, Heather. I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited for
Getting
today's
over. Yeah, it is an exciting episode. I'm apologizing to you and the listeners ahead of time because I'm getting over a little cold. So
I
there's
can't
the
hear it that
chaos
much.
for you.
I think you probably feel it more than we can hear it.
I can hear it. I can hear it so much. I'm sure. I don't know. I feel like I can hear it, but maybe you're right.
I think you sound beautiful, but I do want you to
Oh,
feel better.
you're so sweet. You're just so sweet. Well, who do we have on the pod today? I'm excited.
We have Ryan and Richard Taylor from IFB Studios. They're also known as the Steampunk Bros, which we talk about. But Ryan and Richard are brothers. They are co-owners of IFB Studios, which is a studio space here in Los Angeles. Ryan is a filmmaker. We actually, it's funny. He went to USC. I went to USC. We were there at the same time, but we didn't meet until after. Somehow we
Really?
met. And so we didn't even know each other when we were there.
Were you in the same
But
program?
we were in different programs. We were in the same
Okay.
department, but we were in different programs. So we
Oh,
never
wow.
really connected. But then we worked together after graduation. But Ryan is a first AD, and he's also a filmmaker. And Richard is an actor, and they co-own the studio space together. And they talk about being business owners and starting this business pretty young or early in their careers.
And also in
multi-hyphenate.
challenging times. They started this during COVID.
Yeah, you guys, they started this
Right
in like
before COVID.
2019, right into 2020. Crazy. And they talk about pivoting, which we, are big fans of, just being open about pivoting and, being adaptable, and just they're still going, with their business. They have a lot of exciting stuff happening, which they talk about opportunities for filmmakers, and they're really trying to make just a really inclusive, safe, and forward-thinking environment for people in this industry, kind of change the narrative a little bit, which is pretty cool.
I love it. Let's get into it.
Awesome. Here we go. Okay. Well, welcome, Ryan and Richard from IFB
Welcome.
Studios.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having.
We're so happy to have you guys.
Oh
Yeah.
no, we were super pleased. As soon as you all reached out, we were like, "Oh my goodness! 1, congratulations on this, and then 2, thank you so much for choosing to help share a story as well."
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, you guys. So for everyone, can you both individually introduce yourselves just so people can match a name to a voice for those who aren't watching? And yeah, just tell us who you are.
Sweet.
Okay. I guess I'll go. I'm Richard. I am actually the older one, even though I look like I'm the younger one.
Oh,
Um, I am an actor. I'm also a behavioral interventionist, and also I'm the co-owner here at IFB Studios.
yes.
Amazing. Thank you.
I'm Ryan. I am the younger brother, and I am also a filmmaker. So, I got started as an actor through Richard, and then that led me into filmmaking. That was through the church, and that just got me interested in behind the scenes. And so, went to film school. That's where I learned how to become an assistant director, and then that led me to wanting to start a film studio with my brother. Yes.
Fantastic. Amazing. Well, we have Ryan and Richard here from IFB Studios, also known as the Steampunk Bros. We will get into that. We'll unpack that a little bit later. But I would love to start off by just hearing from both of you, growing up together, kind of what were the early days like for you? you know, did you guys get along? Did you not? Like, did you have family connections? Did you know you wanted to be in production? Where did you guys grow up? Like, just kind of give us a little background.
Hmm.
I grew up in the Rancho Cucamonga. It's in Atchel City. I know, like, you guys didn't know the show or the movie Friday. But it's Atchel City, and grew up there. We always were kind of, like, introduced to it. I was actually introduced to it, as a kid, is what my mom would say. I was like a baby model, and then I think I did my first commercial at 4. But I think it was through school that I developed the passion of acting. I just liked it for fun and wanted to do it, and then brought Ryan along, and he actually was directing a lot of the, like, the funny videos that we would do. I don't know if you remember those, video recorders that you would, like, plug into your computer. They record up to, like, 20 minutes. Ryan will get, like, several of those, or we'll record ourselves just, like, doing what was probably like TikTok now, way back then. And then I went to doing some more theater, and then Ryan kind of was more into television and film, and then he got this passion of behind the scenes. And so, yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
Ryan.
I would say the same thing. I think growing up, for the most part, we did get along. And so that's what led us to want to go into business. We grew up in a family business. And so
Mhm,
our parents were boarding care operators and service providers. So we owned homes for the intellectually disabled. And so we, growing up with such a close knit, I think that kind of sort of allowed us to want to further go into business ourselves together.
mm,
But we're like any other brother and sibling, so we do have our moments, as with everyone. So, and I think that's what's fun with business is that when it's great, it's great. If it's bad, for the most part, we have to leave it at the office, and so
mhm.
that's kind of sort of the main thing is just a reminder. But yeah, at the same time, I think that that's what helps. And so when we meet people, a lot of times, there are a lot of people that don't necessarily get along with their siblings or are not able to work with them. But we, thankfully, we try to stick to our own roles as much as possible. That's what helps. But yeah.
I think that was one of the key things is we kind of learned our own roles.
Hmm.
And, like, I know, like, what his strengths are, and then he knows what my strengths are, and, like, I don't even really try to cross it. Like, I'm just like, "You handle that." And so I think that helps a lot, though.
Knowing your strengths and knowing each other's strengths is such a powerful skill and tool to have.
Hmm.
What are some of the strengths that you 2 kinda like, what are your, like, lanes, I guess, so to speak?
Yes.
I would say Ryan, like, I guess the best way to describe it, Ryan would be like the face bringing people to the studio, where I will handle more the behind the scenes, the business part aspect of it.
Yes. So normally I'm the one that'll go ahead and do the grabbing, and then Richard will do the tying up and the loose ends. And so that typically helps the most. And so, but at the same time, flexibility too. I think some of our strengths are that we are able to both be in front at times. So that way, let's say if one of us cannot be there, at least one of us can fill in, and we're somewhat similar. So I think that helps. Yeah.
That's
And what do you
awesome.
guys do to keep boundaries? I mean, like, I know that has to be such a challenge, like, being siblings and also business owners. Are there any,
Mhm.
like, tools or resources or tips or tricks that you suggest for trying to, keep those boundaries and keep a happy, healthy relationship?
Some things that that I've learned is keeping it business. And hey, if it is something that's business related, it's in a safe space, so that way no one's taking anything personal. But at the same too, respecting like one thing that I had to get better at was in having a cutoff time with work. So in terms of certain time, we do need to stop talking about work. For the first, I'd say the first year or two, that was really hard for me. It took a second for me to get adjusted to it. But once I did, it made sense that just having the boundary of there is a cutoff time. So respecting that, hey, at 10 p.m., you don't have to go into the room and bother each other because we do live together as well. That's another added thing. Respecting the boundaries of that. Also, just knowing each other. So for the first year, so we had to get used to each other as business owners. So just kind of sort of knowing how we can talk to each other, and then just really trying to focus on that. There are times that, of course, we slip up, but just really trying to stay focused on that and just seeing the future, the bigger picture. And I say that's boundaries within us. Now, within other people, we did have to learn to establish boundaries outside as well. And just with the general, because especially once we started, it was a little bit overwhelming. And so just like the amount of people that were reaching out at one time, just curiosity. So just establishing boundaries, not over promising and under delivering, making sure that we
Mhm.
can realistically do some things. And so that was something that we, I think, learned, at least for sure, I know I did, was just to establish the boundaries of even certain things that our studio will offer, just making sure that we stay true to who we are and what we see our vision for the space.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I think, oh gosh, it's really is hard in this industry in particular. And then also you know, your business partners, but your like creative collaborators, of course, your family. But it's so important to, I think, find people in this business that you align with, whether they happen to be family, you guys got lucky, but or not, you know, uh you have to find people that you can collaborate with and connect with and who are kind of on the same at the same level, but at the same time, you know, you may also be friends. You may also have like a personal relationship, and so you have to really set those boundaries.
Absolutely. That is definitely something that, especially like with just like family and friends, just establishing that we learned that establishing boundaries early on though saves in the long run. And so yeah. Yeah, and we're still growing, so I think those are things that, we're learning as of, like, recently within, like, the past year or 2. The first year was definitely like, "Oh, getting used to everything, figuring it all out," and then it's like, "Okay, no, we have to kinda sort of reel it in a sense," and so establishing those healthy boundaries. Um
What was the process like for you guys with starting the studio? Was there a certain something that happened? You know, was it like in school? Did you guys go to the same school? Like how did that those ideas start to form? Was this something that had been kind of brewing for a long time? Or just how did the idea for this business come to be?
so, because I think as kids, Rich would say
I think it was the kids, yeah.
yeah.
We always thought for some reason, I always thought it would happen probably, like, in, like, my 40s or 50s, like, 'cause I just thought maybe I had to, like, act and work my way through Hollywood that way, make those connections, and then that happened. But then Ryan kinda, like, got inspired by, going to another location right after graduating and stuff like that, and then the pandemic happened, we had time, and and
Yeah.
then we were.
Yeah, because like I think we both always thought that it would be later on we would have to make because we always saw it more so on like the major scale. So we
Right.
didn't necessarily know about warehouse studios. And so it was after graduating and starting assistant directing, I was going to different studios and seeing studios similar to the one that we own now, but more so standing sets. But it was seeing someone who looked like us. We met a gentleman, and he just so happened to have a studio. And so I remember the first time seeing it, and then calling home and being like, "Oh my goodness." We just shot at this studio, and I'm like, "This is such a cool, unique idea." So, and he just happened to be black owned, and so we had never seen that, and that was something that representation does matter because that's what really inspired us to feel like we can, I think, at least just on that level. And then we went to a few more. I was assistant directing at a few more. And then I remember one shoot, I was talking with the owner and he was young. And he was, yeah, I own this with me and my friend. He had a close friend. And I was like, oh, you know what? I think I could do something like this. And I was like, who to do? And I was like, my brother, because we get along. We both like the film industry and we'd be able to really pour into it. And the way they had it set up was that like, they would just kind of sort of do it in shifts. So someone would be there for one time and the next person would come in. It was very similar to that one was more similar to what we have, just minus the psych wall. But that's what really inspired it. And then I brought Richard to set one day for lunch, and then we walked around. I was like, "Hey, you know, I think we can do this," and that was in 2019. And then COVID happened, and like Richard said. we had downtime. And at the time, I was working on a Christmas film. And what led to that was our sister had passed in 2018. And so come 2019, I just remember thinking, like, you know what? I need to like start doing something more just to really make it worth its while. Just because at the time, we were just really focused on just like filmmaking, just like the career, but not necessarily on family. And so my thing was is like I need to really put myself out there. And so all of 2019, we're leading up. I'm like supposed to be writing this Christmas film. We're securing financing, primarily self financing. So letting our family know well in advance that we want to put on a film, and we had learned a little bit about like stacking a film. So that was our plan, was to kind of sort of stack it with the stars, and so that way it'd be sellable. And then the top of the year happened, and we were supposed to be trying to shoot towards the spring. COVID happened, and it's like, whoa, everything's shutting down. And there's no way I can let we can pitch it to our family to shoot this film because their thing is, well, what in the world are we, how are we gonna get the return back? And so that was kind of sort of scrapped. But what inspired it was seeing um Tyler Perry had shot, I think, like his series, and everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, how did he film?" And so what got us thinking was, well, he had his own space, and so he was able to quarantine, and then they were able to shoot in their own space, and so that's what got us thinking, whoa, maybe we should look into getting our own space.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, with COVID happening, everything was, of course, shutting down. But the one thing that was still filming for the most part were music videos. And
Yeah.
so I was getting calls for music videos. And I remember one, he was having a hard time finding a studio. For whatever reason, he was having a hard time finding a studio. And so I was like, you know what? I think we need to get into a studio. And so it took too long, though. It took a really long time to find the space. It took a few months to find the space. So we ended up not getting that. But that's what really got it going, was seeing Tyler Perry doing it, and then also having the demand of music videos. At least we saw an avenue. We didn't know if it was going to be. And of course, at the time, we're thinking like everyone else, COVID is just going to be a phase, it's going to be short. So our thing was, let's start doing something productive and proactive while we have this downtime. So that way, when it's over, we're ready to go. And then it continued. But yeah, so that's kind of like the start.
That is just so strategic, I think. I don't know if you know this, but Los Angeles and Southern California was having a really, really big issue with not having enough studio spaces at that time, like pre-COVID, and then, COVID disrupted all industries. But it's so cool looking back and seeing how you two were able to be like, okay, this is something that we can do. This is an industry or a business that we want to start. And at the same time, whether you knew it or not, this was something that the film industry, the media industry really needed and still needs. There's still not enough studio spaces for people to go, especially medium and smaller productions, to be able to go and make the content that they want to make.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's I mean, thank you for sharing all of that. That's so interesting. And I love what stuck out for me in your story was just how you just have to do the thing. I think we've all had these ideas. Oh, well, when I'm here or at some point in time, um, I will do this, but the timing is never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the right time. It's probably always going to feel scary in some way, but you just have to take the risk and go, I think, before you're not going to feel ready. At least that's my motto is like, I think you're just not going to feel ready. And the more comfortable you get with just doing the thing, even though you don't feel ready for it, I think
Mhm.
you're just going to, propel yourself even further. But that's so
We've been
cool.
saying that a lot lately. Do the
Yeah.
thing. We're going to
Do
do
the
the thing. We're
thing.
doing the
Right.
thing.
Do
We're
the
doing the
thing.
thing.
Absolutely. And we're all about that. We're all about just going and taking the chance. We'll admit too, taking the chance it can it's a journey, you
Oh,
know?
sure.
And so we want to be honest about that. It is, but at the same time, most of it, I'd say like 80 to 90% of it is like you're wowed because hey, you took the chance, and then also to see it growing is always beneficial too. So
Mhm.
and I think too, because I recently started back in grad school because I just wanted to get more of a foundation in business. And so, in my classes that I'm learning is that you have to know if you're okay with either having taken the risk and something going wrong or not taking the risk and things going smoothly, but in the back of your head, you never know, hey, what would have happened? And so, yeah, I think just making sure that you know that distinction is very helpful.
Failure is a good thing.
Yes, yes, and that's what
Mhm.
we're learning is that it's okay to fail and it's okay to test things out. A lot of the major companies, that's what they do is they test things out. Of course, the hard thing about being a small business is having the capital to be testing things out. It's pricey, but at the same time, that's what causes you to get strategic. And so that's something that we've had to do is kind of sort of get strategic in our thinking,
Mhm.
also kind of sort of thinking outside of the box, even though our studio is legit a box, but thinking outside the box and kind of sort of coming up with unique ways to kind of sort of offer a service in this industry and sort of carve out a niche in this industry.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Speaking
that's
of thinking out of the box, I'm just wondering if you can tell us a little bit about your studio and the Steampunk Bros and how you set yourselves apart from the rest of, the folks in this industry.
yeah.
Hmm. I'll let Ryan handle the steampunk part because he's the one who kind of he's more behind it. I didn't know what it was before.
So what happened was, as a kid, I used to love the movie Wild Wild West with Will Smith, and so I used to love seeing like the gadgets, like his jacket that would have the gun pop out. Also, I believe it's Doctor Lovelace with the spider
Mhm.
legs and everything, and so I was just very very intrigued by that and that style of wardrobe and costume. And so for years, I've always wanted to wear stuff like that, but I never had a reason or a place to wear it. And so, oddly enough, which is so strange, but like I've always wanted to have this kind of hat, or like we normally will have our gloves and stuff like that, having the armor on just because it was just something fun. And so, once we launched the studio, we had shot a really, really like high end commercial just to advertise what we shot there. And so one of the segments, and we did like different segments in like different worlds, I guess you would say. And so one of them was a steampunk world. And so that was the main world that we had to have. So it was like we had a team, and with the costume designer and the production designer, we're like, anything else you can have fun with, but this we have to have. And that's because I was like, I want to just test out wearing the steampunk. And so I remember the first day that our costume designer brought the arm out, we're like, oh my goodness, she nailed it to the T.
Mhm.
And then once we released the commercial, that seemed to be like the one segment that like really stuck out to people. And so we're like, okay, we're like, okay, well, since people like it, we like it. And Richard had kind of sort of gotten on board with it. So I was like, well, let's keep that going. And then through that, we learned that there is a huge community, a huge steampunk community. And so that's where we're like, let's lean towards that community because there are other people that love it just as much of that as us. And so that's kind of sort of what got us into it. And then the reason why we wear our hats now pretty much every day that we're in the studio is just to distinguish ourselves. So one of our strengths, I think, with the studio is we want to create an environment, a fun, whimsical environment when you enter. So that way, we want to take it up a notch while you're filming and have a little more fun. So that way, it's almost like a themed attraction. And so so we started wearing the hats through that, and then also too because we're both young, and so being young, and also too African American, being black, that not everyone necessarily knows who's necessarily in charge. We're there, and so we had to experience that a couple times. And Richard's really good at it. Richard has no problem with walking away. Me, I'm like, oh, you need me to move some stuff, like thought we were total PAs. He had no idea. And so, but shortly after that, like the next day, we went and put our hats on. And so ever since then, that has helped distinguish. So when we're walking around the studio, not only does it help create a fun environment, but also it helps distinguish who's in charge. So if you need anything, you know who to go to. Uh, also too, if you're looking for like people want tours and stuff like that, we're all about giving that. And so it works as a twofold thing as to help distinguish us, but also help create a fun environment with us.
That's so
And
cool.
we used to dress up too in the costumes
Yes.
to do the tours, but it just gets too hot now.
Yes, we were when we started out, oh my goodness, the first year, those people got it good because we're in full costume, full bow tie, full presentation, sweating galore. So now we kind of dialed back more, just so because also too it would stun people too. They're like, oh my goodness, it's a lot to handle at one time, and so they're like, oh whoa whoa. But now a little bit more, just like a little more tasteful, but just
Mhm,
subtlety. And so eventually we would love to, of course, expand into doing like more like merchandise and stuff like
mhm,
that. So that way we can really feed the steampunk community. And that's where the Steampunk Bros, though, came involved. And so that's kind of become our signature branding. So that way, anytime you see us or anytime you see something with IFB, we want you all not only to think of brothers and family, but also to think of steampunk. And so, and we've been educating a lot of people on it. Dude, there are people of all ages that know about it, and so it's yeah, it's a really cool thing. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I There's so much to unpack in what you guys just talked about, but I think I want to just highlight and like kind of chat a bit more about, developing a personal brand or a
mhm,
component to your brand because there's many things happening in our industry, but I know for certain there are people that are like, "Oh yeah, those steampunk guys, those brothers, like let's
Mm,
go to their studio." You just have to find ways to make yourself stand apart. And also, you guys are subtly kind of reinforcing the type of environment that people are going to come into when they work with you all at your studio. So that is so awesome. And I think so much that all types of people in this industry can take away, whether they own a business. But I think I always try to tell people, like, hey, if you're a freelancer, you are a business. Like, you and
uh-huh.
yourself are a business. You have to market yourself
Yes.
because you're always marketing yourself to get a job as a freelancer. But the other thing that really stood out for me was, you guys having experiences where maybe people, just because of certain norms, they didn't expect you to be owners of the studio. They didn't expect that. And I know Jess and I have certainly experienced things like that on set where, people want to know if I'm the makeup artist or something. There's just like these assumptions where people,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
there's nothing, bad about being the makeup artist, but it's just like, oh, when that's the assumption. So I think you guys really taking your brand and making it fun, but also kind of like owning and being like strong and powerful and being like, yeah, we do run this studio. We are leaders in this space, I think is really cool. Yeah, I don't
Thank
know.
you, thank you. Yeah, we definitely agree with just having to kind of sort of stand out because the market might be a oversaturated market or some might think and so just finding ways so that way people can kind of sort of remember you
mhm.
definitely yeah, very important. Yeah.
And we've sometimes wear the hats outside of the studio too. So
Yes.
people see us out and about the restaurants. And so every once in a while they'll be like, I've seen you before. And we're
Yeah.
like, well, you might have, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
and in this town, it's like a conversation, but like you can say, well, let me tell
Mhm.
Yes.
you why we're wearing
About
this
the studio.
because,
Yes.
yeah.
That's definitely some of the fun marketing that we do. So on the weekends, don't be surprised if you run into us at a restaurant because people are like, "What the heck?" And then this people are like, "What in the world's going on here?" But a lot of times it sparks joy, and so that's what we also want to do is just kind of sort of bring some light into the industry and as well as into the world. So seeing the smiles, a lot of times people are smiling. They'll go from either the shock of like, "What?" and then oh wow. And so and then like you said too, it works as a way to a calling card. So
Mhm.
like, hey, what are the hats about? And then that leads us to, hey, our studio. But yeah.
I know
That's
we
awesome.
talked previously about accessibility being an important thing part of
Mhm.
your studio as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh yes, yes. So that's something that Richard is currently developing more because we want to provide a space that's legit for everybody. And so we thought about tying in Richard's expertise.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially like working in the in the I guess you say the psychology realm, I as a behavioral therapist, there's a lot of times I see like a lot of I'm able to kind of see on set, even some people in production, I could tell, okay, maybe they might be on the spectrum and the certain things, like little things that can maybe even speed up the process, such as just earphones or just having just something just to rub their hand on or just little things, just maybe having this area, a little bean bag or something just to accommodate anybody in any aspect. That's something. And then like Ryan's kind of been bringing it more to my attention because he's kind of noticing it to himself, and it's even helping him become more patient too,
Yes.
like on sets and stuff.
Because, yeah, it's like as an assistant director being on set, just noticing you have to work with everyone. And so that's something that's not always communicated. Um,
Hmm.
and I think just being aware, and especially for a while, I wasn't necessarily utilizing that side of Richard to our benefit in that sense, but recognizing that, hey, like, no, everyone has a different way of thinking. And so, and also to prompting, ways of prompting, but also having different tools such as like fidget things and stuff like that
Hmm.
can lead to more productivity because if they're able to get that release out, they're able to continue on working. And so that's something that we are incorporating more into our studio. So hopefully within like the next month or so, we'll be fully accessible in that realm, but just incorporating new fun things. So that way, when you come to film, like you'll have access to our lovely, either if you want to use your director's chairs or if you want to sit in something fun like a bean bag or something like that, we'll have that available for you. So that way, it's legit accessible for everyone. Also to our events. So we're planning to do more events, more mental health events, as well as
Hmm.
events with the intellectually disabled and just honestly everyone. We've had a recent event and we noticed that we have wheelchair accessibility, and that is something that we're very, very proud of. So to be able to offer an event that you can just legit come right on in and it can house everyone with ease. And so I think that's our focus now is really just tying more into being accessible space for all.
Yes, and even besides, and also along with that, like having different things that are not just solely like television and film related. Like we're now even having some acting classes here and things. Because I noticed that even though I was big, there's a lot of vast majority of people who have never been in a studio ever. And so giving them the opportunity to at least step foot in, have that moment. And we always try to have like welcoming music going on, or we say, hey, you can play the playlist yourself. We have a phone access for everybody to connect to Bluetooth and everything.
That's
And
so
that's
cool.
something too that Richard brought up too was us bringing doing events because of the strike and everything like that. We had to because everything was going fine up until the strike, and the next thing you know, the strike happens, and that made us have to think, well, what do we do? And that caused us to pivot. And so I'm learning that we have space, and so prior to that, we were only targeting, let's say, just the film community, but there's the whole music industry that, hey, they need music videos. Even though
Mhm.
we initially got started wanting to cater to music videos, we had never really reached out. And so the strike caused us to reach out to A&R, which we had never done before. Getting comfortable in different studios, seeing if they need space, as well as yeah, events. So opening up to everything from workshops, film workshops. We started doing acting classes. We've had writers workshops. And so we're trying to really cultivate something that's,
Birthday
yeah,
birthday parties as well,
yes.
and
And we have, of course,
concerts.
yes, concerts. Our
And now we're
first
gonna be
like,
having a wedding here in March.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Are they from the film industry? Like, do they both work in film or do they just want to have their wedding at a studio?
It was one of my good friends. She's actually comes to like every film festival and helps out. And so she was looking to have it somewhere else. But then like we were all in a Zoom meeting. They're like, what are we doing wasting time? Why don't we just like have it here at the studio? I'm like, that is something I want to challenge doing.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
that's so cool. I love that.
And so, yes, if anyone's looking for that, that's definitely something that we've been open to just because, similar to film, events and stuff like that, they also transform a space. And so they need to
Mhm.
be able to transform. And so we saw a good parallel with that. And we're able to get this a similar feeling. So, because it's always good to see the productions, you never know what they're gonna come and create. And similar to events, you never know what the event is going to be. And some of the workshops we will sometimes also partake, like Richard's, he'll take partake in the acting workshops. And so people are always surprised to know that we're not only do we run the studio, but we also like to get involved sometimes too, if you're willing to allow us to. But like, yeah, being involved in like workshops, or if someone's having a birthday party, if they're okay, we don't mind doing a little dance on the dance floor with you, and then we'll go
Mhm.
back upstairs. But
That's fantastic. I love, just how innovative both of you are in the ways in which you're, bringing in different parts of the community in different ways. And I think there's so much to be said for, people have to see it. People have to experience it or see it, they are not going to immediately, not everyone is going to say, oh, maybe the studio could be an event space, but it's you guys putting that forth to kind of help people see that vision for what it could be. But I really am, so excited to hear you guys talk about that inclusive aspect, specifically for making set feel like a safer space or just like a more comfortable space. I think we often can forget how being on set could be very prohibitive to some people. There's a lot of high tension, there's a lot of activity. It could be very loud or sometimes very quiet. There's just a lot of stimulation on a set. It may not always be accessible in the way that it should be. And so it's great that you guys are starting that conversation and making it feel just a little bit easier in some ways because it doesn't need to be so hard and stressful. I think we've talked about this before, Jess and I have.
yeah,
It doesn't need to be like this, it really doesn't.
absolutely.
But amazing that you guys are really starting that conversation and bringing that into the fold for sure.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. In a previous life, I did a lot of training with folks that were on the spectrum in studio
Yeah.
spaces. And there's a
Oh,
lot that you may not realize that, isn't that is set up in a way, like Heather's saying, that is overstimulating or, may not be conducive to everybody's strengths. And so, again, going back to the beginning of our conversation, just talking about strengths and learning about strengths and also how to overcome spaces that may not be the most suitable for you or your colleague, and kind of figuring out ways to make things more comfortable and safer
agreed.
and also more pleasant.
Yeah.
I think it's so important what you both are doing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, we definitely part of the reason why we started the studio was because we wanted to create a safe space for everyone. And so that way when you come in, you feel like you're at home, and we really want to be customer focused and driven on that, and just making sure that we're offering what the customer wants. And so, but also too what we feel like the industry kind of sort of needs, because like you said, it doesn't have to be that hard. And I know as an assistant director, I had to get that in my mind. And so, and what really did it, I kid you not, was the sound department. Because I never paid attention that they have their headphones in. And so, not only when I have to elevate my voice, it's also elevated in their ears. And so, for him, it was a bit overstimulating. And so, and it took a second at first. I was like, why is he even bringing it to my attention? That, hey, like it's a little bit of yelling happening and I can't handle the yelling. And I'm like, dude, there's like 60 to 70 people in this room. I don't know how else to get it across, but that got me to thinking, no, there's got to be other techniques that I need to apply. And so that way it's not an abusive situation. And so just because I was like, it's not fun for him and it's not fun for anyone else in that sense. So just thinking about like, hey, different approaches. And that's what really kind of sort of led me into it's not only just the tone on set, but also too sitting. Some people get bored really fast, and so it's like, hey, if there's little things on set that they can utilize with their time that's not interrupting set, I think is definitely beneficial because we want people to feel good, and when people feel good, better work is going to happen. They're going to give their best, and so that's what we want. And we want the productions that come into our studio. We want them to be able to provide their best work as well, and so yeah, that's kind of definitely why we're leaning more towards accessibility for all.
Mhm.
That's amazing. We really need to gosh, it's like I think there's so many things that are done and people are like, "This is the way we've always done it, and so that's why we do
Yeah.
it this way," and it's challenging that and being, fresh voices in the space and being vocal about things and saying, "Hey, no, we don't have to do it that way,"
Uh-huh.
is really cool and exciting, and it is what excites me about the future of our industry, but
Mhm.
I also wanna know from both of you you're both multi-hyphenates. You
Uh-huh.
co-own this creative business together. Ryan, you're a filmmaker. Richard, you're an actor. Ryan, you're going back to school for your master's. Like, how do you guys balance it? What is your structure? What's your day-to-day look like? How do you guys handle
I'm really good at it where I kind of right, I think, and my mom are starting to kind of get like I'll hint ahead that I'm gonna take a trip, like to balance and get time away. So, or I'll just and then I'll know because I'll start to feel like my body and stuff, and I'll know, okay, maybe this weekend I am not going. Sometimes I'll even come to the studio all day, turn my phone off so I don't be bothered by anyone, and just relax, that kind of thing, or go to the beach or something. But yeah, I traveling is my balance every few maybe a few months.
Yes. And I'd say for me, I've been getting better at having a better balance. I definitely initially was the one that was just kind of sort of taking on a lot. I like to be active, and so I'm definitely the person that when I go to bed, I am ready for bed. My body is like, get to bed now. But what I've been doing, I'd say for the past, honestly, for the past 2 years, because the first 2 years were a lot. The past 2 years, I've been hiking more. So,
Yes.
legit, it's a little warm right now, but when the weather is normally right, if we have downtime at the studio or at school or something like that, then I'll just go hiking, like in the morning. I'm just kind of sort of getting out, touching nature. We have a little Boston Terrier, and he's
Um,
very active. If anyone has one, are rambunctious. They're a lot. And so what I found was getting him out kind of sort of helps tire him out, in a sense. So going walking, but at the same time, it's good just to get out and be in peace. We're very spiritual too, so that's very much the
mhm,
time where I'm able to kind of sort of have that time, alone time. And I think that's kind of sort of where it's been more beneficial for me is just kind of sort of getting out because sometimes I don't necessarily make time to be able to let's say like leave or anything like that. But I'm like, you know what? Hey, there's a park nearby. I can at least go to the park really fast. There's as I'm getting older, it feels so good to be out, and if you catch a good breeze, you know. But yes, I would say that. But kind of sort of, I do say anyone that is doing anything, honestly, if you're working in general, I think it is important to have that work life balance.
Mhm.
mhm.
And also to doing the things that you feel good, little hobbies too. I'm learning too that those little hobbies can turn into bigger things. So kind of sort of getting in touch with what you love in that sense is very helpful. But yeah.
Yeah, that's so
Ryan
cool.
used to always go to the gym. I mean, Ryan used to always
Oh,
go to
yeah.
to get a massage every Monday too. That was
Forgot
his.
about that. Yes, yes, yes. That was because at the time I was doing a lot. And so juggling, and I will encourage that too, because I was juggling and then I was like, why is my back? And then standing on set, standing those long hours on set, it's vicious. And so and then at the studio, with it being just the two of us, we do a lot of the lifting, and we are very much the hands-on type of founders. So it can be a little bit of wear and tear on our body. And so that's what I hadn't been paying attention to. And so, and something as simple as doing a stretch. I hadn't stretched in probably 10 to 15 years. Like something as simple as like sitting on the ground and stretching. And so, for the past year as well, I've been doing that. So even on set, people will be looking at me like, "What are you doing?" Or they've gotten used to me now. I'm definitely on the floor in a heartbeat, and I'm just like, "Let me just stretch it out." And then go into the massage, those deep tissues. I'm like, just walk and do whatever you need. And so that
Taking
and
those little moments, I think, is so important
yeah,
because it can feel like a small thing, and it's you really have to advocate for yourself or with
uh,
yourself and be like, "No, no. No, we
I
need to
need
just take this minute right now. Everybody else can wait, 3
Mhm.
minutes while you just pace yourself and just make sure you don't forget about yourself is super, super important."
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
that kinda ties into my question was gonna be, is there a lesson, a belief, or a mindset you've kind of learned up into this point that you would want to share with everyone?
Mm. I would say one thing we have learned, don't be afraid to evolve and continue to evolve. Cause like even with this business, you never know if things could shift. And like we were saying earlier, we went from being strictly television and film and now we're opening to different avenues. And you find out maybe I actually like doing this, or maybe the studio is much better in this direction than maybe this direction. Or just in other areas in your life, just don't be afraid to evolve and be the better version of yourself that you were before.
Yes. Yes. I would say something similar to don't be afraid to evolve and also go for it. So
Mhm,
I really I would say for like the past 4 years, even though it's been a roller coaster, like so much we realize like had we not gone for this opportunity, so much of what we've done would have never happened. The people that we've
mhm,
so you never know what the journey will lead. So I would say if you're thinking of something, just do it. And also too, if you can work with your family, try to do that as well, just because it does help having that support, and having
mhm,
someone that really, can, back you, especially when you're down. It definitely helps as well as, financially too. Sometimes you might have to lean on your family, and so, if you can at least just, work on that relationship, I would say, is very beneficial and very, yeah, something that just to keep in mind, I
mhm.
would say. I would let people know.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Those
So,
are both really
that's
great, and I think you guys talked about them so much, and, they're just so important. I think it's something that people talk about a lot, like, "Just go for it," or "Do the thing," but easier said than done, for
So,
sure.
yeah.
there's some times where you're like, can I back out now? But it's like, no, because you think about, well, I invested so much, but it's like,
Yes.
oh, I want to,
We all have those moments, I think, where
Yes. What
like,
did I get
"Ugh."
yes,
myself into?
what did I
Yes.
do exactly?
Yes. And that turning point, and I think that's kind of sort of the moment where just letting everyone know that it does happen. Like you said, it happens. You're going to experience it. And for us, our main thing is just kind of sort of just kind of go for it. Look, just no looking back. I've heard that. I've heard people say that too, but just no looking back. We look at it as we're in it. We just got to ride out the wave.
Hmm.
So yeah, no looking back and just yeah, going for it in that sense.
Amazing. Well, I would love to know what's next for you guys. You have some stuff, exciting stuff coming
Yes.
up. Where can people get in touch with you, follow you, check out the studio, all the things?
Oh, yes. So you can definitely check us out on our website, ifbstudios.com, but also on our Instagram at IFB Studios. That's where we'll post most of our events. We've got some really fun events coming up. We have a Halloween event that's going to be happening in October, and that'll be happening October 25th. So that'll be fun. It's kind of like a walkthrough attraction, and we're planning to partner up with our. There's a brewery that's actually our neighbor. We share the same parking lot. And so we're partnering up with them for this event. It'll be super fun. There'll be a beer garden over there. So that way you can grab some beers, hang out, and then come over to our studio and get scared. And then also we have a Christmas, it'll be our fifth anniversary, our Christmas walkthrough attraction. And for that, we've been also doing it's a not only is it a walkthrough attraction, but it's a toy drive. So if you bring a toy, you get free admission, and that'll be happening in December. And then our big event is our film festival. That is going to be happening in March. We're going to start advertising really soon and taking submissions. This not only will be our fifth film festival, but it's going to be coinciding with our 5th-year anniversary of business. So we're planning to do something very special. And each year, for anyone that's interested, the winners receive free studio time. So that way, if you got like a short film or a music video of any genre, we're not really picky on genre. The time restraints, which will be on there, but it's like 30 minutes for the short film, 5 minutes for the music video. If you submit it, you got a good chance to win some free studio time, but also too, it's a great way to network. We've had a lot of people come, meet people, and then now they're working together on films. We try to bring in good experts from the field so that way there's at least good advice. And then also too, that way for the filmmakers, there's going to be good eyes and good viewership of your magic. So it's definitely a fun time. And if you are, not only if you're a filmmaker, if you are an artist, because we're all about so ever since the strike now, we want to tie into the music industry as well. So if you're an artist as well, we have live performers there, and we're all about if you have new music, you definitely need to perform it.
Mhm.
So definitely reach out if you're interested in performing, or we'll try to look you up. Or I'm definitely the one that's on social media scrolling and see who's performing and who's got new music. But that way, the festival is more so like an art festival. So it's a film festival.
Mhm.
If you're an artist, it's definitely something that you should come out to. And yeah, be involved. You'll definitely see us in our steampunk gear. Each year we do like a theme. And yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
But yes,
Yeah.
we see we're working on some in-house content too. So hopefully soon that'll be coming out. We're gonna be tying more of the mental health into the studio. And so our mother who's an LMFT, she's really kind of sort of open our eyes to some like people, not only are people dealing with stressors on set, but also stressors at home. And so just kind of sort of wanting to tie into that overall arc of, hey, making sure that you're fully 100. And so we're going to be having some mental health workshops really soon. And those will be, we're working to make those very interactive. So that way you'll come in and you'll learn how to be good with your spouse in a sense and like some fun tips with your spouse. But that also, if you're in a good space with your spouse, you'll be in a good space on set, or if you're in a good family, you'll be in a better space on set. So I just wanted to tie that in. So that'll be happening really, really soon as well.
That's amazing. Such an important skill for producers or anyone who's a leader on set to take those types of classes to just like get more informed and how can they be better on set. I think to me being on set's like a pressure cooker. I've said this before. If you can learn those skills and have them on set and, so you don't bring that stuff from set home and you don't take home to set and you can just be, better supportive for your casting crew. I think that's incredible. Well, you guys are doing so many awesome things to, support our community in production and film and entertainment. Thank you guys for all you do and thanks for being on the pod today.
Well, thank
Thank
you
you.
so
It
much
was
for
a
having
pleasure.
us.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, we're super pleased and congratulations again.
Yes.
We're doing wonderful. And so we can't wait to hear so many more episodes. And we'll be definitely checking out. So
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
take care. Take care.
All right, that's the show for today. But before we switch back, we want to remind you
Subscribe to the pod, you guys. You got to subscribe. It's very, very important that you subscribe to the pod on whatever platform you get your podcast. Also, follow us on social. We're kind of funny sometimes, and we put some cool stuff on there. Also, get on the mailing list. Anything new, exciting, fresh coming out, you're going to want to be on the mailing list so you can get notified of that.
yeah,
And,
it helps us. It helps
it
us. It
does.
helps us help you. It helps us help you.
Yeah.
So do it.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to Switching To, hosted and edited by Heather K. Duncan and Jess Boyer. Original music by Top Flow, courtesy of the Pixabay royalty-free music library. Recorded on location in Los Angeles, California. Follow us on social at Switching To Pod. Show notes and transcripts can be found at switching2pod.com.